that helps us process our trauma, because we cannot escape the past.
Right.
No matter what we do, no matter how hard we try, it will not go away.
So true.
Unless we process it properly.
Yeah.
Which means we need professional help. We need people who know what they're talking about, who are willing to help us feel safe, who are willing to let us say whatever's on our minds, who will reflect back and will point things out. And
welcome to Trauma Recovery Out Loud, where we talk about where we've been, where we are, and where we're going in our trauma recovery journeys. Join us and get some insights and encouragement to keep going and keep growing. Let's go.
We are live. Glasses off. Engage blobification.
I think blobification has been engaged.
Yeah, you guys are blobs on the screen. Oh well. Hello.
Oh, well.
Welcome to Trauma Recovery Out Loud podcast. I'm Stephanie Dunham.
I'm Evelyn Mason.
I'm Richelle Knapp.
Yeah, we are continuing our series called What Trauma Survivors Actually Need from the Church. Is that how?
I think so.
Okay.
Sounds right.
Okay.
We'll go with
close,
that.
It's close enough. We are on our
This is like the fourth one?
third
one? Not sure.
Hey,
Wait, hold on. I can tell you.
now we have to know.
Now we gotta figure it out. Sorry.
Testimonials were first.
1, 2. We're on our fourth one.
Okay.
Wow.
This is our fourth one. Yeah. So we're on number 4 of however many. I think 7 is the total number.
I believe so.
So tonight we're going to be talking about psychology and attitudes about that in the church.
Yes.
Which is mixed.
Yeah.
It's pretty mixed. There's a lot of different feelings about it. I've encountered all sorts of attitudes, and all the way to psychology is evil to, therapy is good for you. So,
Who you talk to for sure.
yeah. A lot of it sort of depends on how people interpret who started psychology, what psychology is, what it does. There's quite a few things to say about this whole thing. I do have a bachelor's degree in psychology. So I was exposed to, the basics about a lot of different things, not very specialized stuff, because that comes later if you do a master's or doctorate.
Right.
Yeah.
But, I got the history of psychology and who the forerunners were and who helped psychology develop into the field it is today. I think psychology, psychiatry, neurosciences, neurobiology, all that sort of functions together these days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think this might just be from Bones.
You talking about the TV show or?
Yeah, the TV show Bones, where she thinks psychology is not a real science.
Yeah, and she's a forensic anthropologist.
Right.
Yeah.
And Sheldon Cooper on Big Bang Theory doesn't think it's a real science either.
I think
they're
it's
both wrong.
pseudoscience.
I mean, they're fictional characters in TV shows, but we don't care about their opinions.
Yeah.
True.
They're allowed to be wrong.
However, I think there are people who actually feel that way. That I think I encountered when I was attending college, obtaining my degree, that there was some thought about it not being a real science because people depend on measurable things that they can quantify to, run experiments, form hypotheses, all the things that scientists do. It's kind of hard to do that with psychology because it's all in here.
Yeah.
It's all about what's going on in here, in the thoughts, in the mind, in the brain.
Yeah. It's basically a brain studying a brain, or a brain studying a mind.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, so it's a little harder now. I think functional MRIs and other ways to measure brain activity has made psychology more real
Mm-hmm.
to people than it might have been 50 years ago.
Right.
Because you can see how the brain lights up when somebody's thinking about certain things. So they can
Yeah.
do like measurable experimental things
Mm-hmm.
with people's brains in that way,
Yeah.
and see the results. Like,
Yeah. I think it's one of those
It's true.
instances where it's like seeing is believing. It's like, I don't know about this. And then they start to see, oh, here's some
Mm-hmm.
actual evidence, that you can see instead of just believing or not
right,
believing, as the case may be.
Yeah.
right. Yeah. So I'm of the mind, and not just because I have a degree in it, but I'm of the mind that it is a science. It's real.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's a little harder to work with because it is mostly based on human behavior,
True.
and human behavior comes from the brain.
Right.
Yeah.
And there's so many billions of people that or trillions, quadrillions of people that have ever lived.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that that means there's so many variations on a theme.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's a little harder. I think it's not a hard science. It's
Mm-hmm.
soft science, but it's still a science in
Yeah.
my opinion.
For sure. Yeah.
So that being said, it doesn't mean anybody ever came up with, starting with Freud, who's the most popular, most well-known,
Mm-hmm.
quote unquote, scientist of his day.
Yep.
That
That's true.
most of what he has had to say has been debunked.
Yeah.
Um,
That is true.
Carl Jung, all the popular guys that we know about,
Right.
who did all kinds of crazy experiments and came up with really, really weird ways to explain human behavior
Yeah.
early
Yeah,
on.
for sure.
Doesn't
Mhm.
mean that they're all right.
Right. Right. I mean,
It's true.
you can't just, judge the whole thing based on a few wackadoos.
I mean,
Yeah.
even in the hard sciences, there's still people who did wackadoo things, who had wackadoo beliefs. Like, for example, for a brief period of time, there was this came up in my psychology classes. Nephrology.
Nephrology?
Nephrology is this, bogus scientific thing that people were doing in the 1800s at some point, where they could feel the lumps on your skull
Yes.
Oh, I
Yes.
remember that.
tell
I've heard
you
about
why
that. Yeah.
you act the way you do.
I remember seeing a chart.
Yep.
There were like all these different sections of the head, what the bumps meant.
Right.
No.
Now, I'm not sure that any serious scientist at the time would have taken that seriously
Right.
necessarily, but stuff like that happens. I mean,
Yeah.
I can't remember what, maybe Piltdown Man turned out to be a hoax.
Yeah. That was, like based on a tooth or something.
Yeah, and like, people get it wrong in the hard sciences. Sometimes people are tricking us.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes people come up with explanations for things that are totally. I think I've heard somewhat recently that a lot of Albert Einstein's theories are being
Oh, really?
disproven. Yeah, and
Interesting.
he's like
Yeah.
probably the most famous scientist ever,
Yeah, pretty
Right?
much.
most famous physicist ever.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what's my point? There's a lot of stuff out there that we just don't know.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that everything we have learned is wrong. It doesn't mean everything we have learned is right.
Yeah.
So to some degree, you have to take certain things with a grain of salt, but also don't just throw the baby out with the bathwater.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I mean, a lot of good has come from the early psychology stuff. It's transformed over time into methods, into, programs and things that actually do help people.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I made a lot when I was taking psychology. I made a lot of connections in my own mind between how things affect the brain and how they affect how things affect your mental health. And I saw a lot of things and I'm not saying that I had like I'm not a scientist, obviously, but it made sense. For instance, like the way that if you leave your trauma untreated, your CPTSD untreated, it'll manifest in your life in other ways. It doesn't leave you. It doesn't just go away at some point. There were certain hard truths that I had to come to conclusions on for myself, based on psychology, based on the idea that this is real. This is a real thing. Yeah, you're right, Steph. There's a lot of it that's not. A lot of it take with a grain of salt, but there's a lot of it that is good. And we shouldn't just throw it out just because it's science. Like, that's kind of ridiculous.
Yeah, I think going either direction, like that it's everything and the cure-all, or it's totally bunk.
Right.
It's more nuanced and
a lot more nuanced.
You need to be wise. We need to use discernment.
Right. Agreed. I mean, okay, taking Pavlov's dog, for example. Okay, he proved that he could train dogs to respond to bells and salivate with food. He could train their brains to do that.
Right. That's true.
Oh, Fuffenhetter's recording will continue on a new track.
Huh?
I don't know what that means.
Just mute my audio and then put it back on because the dogs were barking.
Oh, just let them bark.
Yeah, well, that's what I finally decided. You know what? I remembered what she said before, but
Speaking
I don't know
of
what's
dogs,
going on with a new track. Speaking of, yes. There may or may not be bells. There may or may not be salivating right now. I don't know. I'm not down there.
And your name's not Pavlov.
No.
Now, taking that information and like extrapolating out of it something, you can condition things. I think that's been proven over time. You can condition people to accept things with, signals or whatever. I mean, I train people in the martial arts. And if I'm doing my job right, that means you guys are developing peripheral vision and
proprioception?
No, not proprioception. No? Situational awareness. There we go.
Okay. Yeah.
So that you're responding to something in your peripheral vision and not just ignoring it. Like that would be Pavlov's conditioning principle at play. Now, we don't necessarily need to keep experimenting with dogs that way, but it doesn't mean that it's total bunk. Like there's something you can get out of it and something you can use to help people,
That's
so that's my opinion. It sounds like that's everybody's opinion in our little group here. You can believe whatever you want if you're listening to this.
Yeah.
But we're going to talk like we believe that there is a lot of good to psychology. We don't believe everything that's ever been invented, but we do believe in some things. And like I said, a lot of it is turned into therapeutic models that work for people with as a matter of fact, today I listened to a video where a therapist who treats people with narcissistic personality disorder and borderline personality disorder with, I don't know what the acronyms or the initials stood for, but there was a specific kind of treatment for people like that. My therapist works with me with dialectical behavioral therapy. A lot of people have been under treatment in cognitive behavioral therapy.
Yeah.
I think probably a good bit of therapy is just based on CBT. The mower.
Cognitive behavioral. You know, the thing is, okay, so I took the dog out earlier and I'm like, there's not much grass here because it's been so hot and everything.
That's hilarious.
He's back.
Oh my goodness, that's hilarious. Okay, we got
what
the
are you gonna
dog,
do?
we got the mower. Our recording is complete.
It
Anyway.
makes you know it's actually us, I guess.
Yeah, and when it finally renders down and exports, you won't hear the dogs or the mower.
It's still funny
thank
though. The
goodness.
timing of these
We
things
can hear it.
is kind of hilarious.
Yeah. Anyway, so let's move on to talking about it in the context of the church, because depending on what you believe in terms of spiritual things, like if you happen to be charismatic or Pentecostal, for example, you might believe that psychology is evil.
Yeah.
Right. Or even like, you don't even have to be charismatic. I've heard it from people who are not charismatic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think didn't you say you had some people in your family who, Evelyn, who believe?
Yeah, it was kind of like looked down on, like sort of made fun of, and also like it was a false thing, like a pseudoscience and that kind of thing. And
pseudoscience,
yeah, and because I was my ex-father-in-law had been a minister.
Right.
He definitely, and it was in the Holiness Church, which is what I came out of. Yeah, he definitely had sort of a disparaging view of it. And also like Christians don't need that,
Right. Right. Yeah. So it's there. And Evelyn wasn't in a charismatic church. She was in a Holiness Church. So,
yeah.
But some people think it's demonic. Some people think it's pseudoscience. Some people think it's because some of the people, like Carl Jung has come up recently with some of the people I trust that are apologists, because he had some weird personal beliefs, therefore everything he does is bunk kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
And something I've been kind of dealing with lately is nuance. Like I want someone to be 100% good and to treat me well and not to ever treat me badly. That's what I want.
Wouldn't that be nice? Yeah.
But in order to have relationships with people, you have to put up with all the other stuff that goes on.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. The bad, the ugly,
the
unfortunate.
Yeah.
And dealing with nuances in the church when it comes, or in psychology when it comes to attitudes in the church, I wish people had a more nuanced approach to this. So why does any of this matter? Why do we care about what the church thinks about psychology?
Because it's part of our healing journey. It's part of what we do to help ourselves get better. And being told that it's bunk or whatever you're told, to all the way to the extreme of being demonic, is incredibly difficult and shameful. So you're already dealing with all these negative things in your own life, and now
Richelle got triggered.
And now you're being told the thing you're trying to do to help yourself, or at least partly to help yourself, is wrong in some way. And yeah, this is really hitting some tender points for me that I have not dealt with yet as we're doing this series. I didn't realize how much it affected me. I've been focusing on other things in my recovery, but yeah, this one's really got me. Like I didn't realize how deeply I was affected by this. I was told by non-charismatics the same thing, that all you need is Jesus. And that's true in a sense. It's definitely true, for sure. But the context was wrong.
Yeah.
And it was all forgiven. It was all healed at the cross. It's stuff I've heard my whole Christian life. And something that Paul said, and I know this is, I think this is in the I don't know what the context of the scripture was. I'm going to paraphrase something about taking the good and leaving the rest. Like we're talking about psychology in that way, taking what's good and what helps you.
Is that like eating the meat and spitting out the bones?
Yeah.
I don't know that that's in the Bible, but it's a good one.
I don't know. Somebody could
let us know.
Paul.
Put it in the comments.
I don't know for sure.
I've heard people say that. I think it's so important for the church because this is a place where people are going to hear what God believes, what God thinks about things. You're going there, you're vulnerable, you're looking for answers, you're looking for support. And if the church gets it wrong, where do we go? Because we're supposed to be connected to a body of believers. So, the church getting this right can be so helpful, and getting it wrong, as we've each experienced, can be so harmful and cause damage that now we have to recover from that, along with the other stuff that we've had to deal with.
Yeah.
Double helping of trouble. And it's just frustrating because, you go to the church for help when you're vulnerable.
Mm-hmm.
And you're presenting yourself as someone who's damaged, essentially.
Right.
And asking for guidance and asking for help and asking for anything that they would do. And they're judging you and telling you that you're wrong. And you're just like, I don't know what to do now.
Right. I'm sensing a theme here.
Yeah. Then you don't want to open up. You don't want to tell them. And you just want to do what a lot of churches say. Don't come in here and pretend everything's okay. But then I open up my heart and I get attacked. So I'm going to go to church with my little fake smile and everything's fine.
You get corrected incorrectly. You get attacked, shut down, just left feeling hopeless and ashamed, and like the church isn't for you.
Right.
Yeah. And that could drive people away from the Lord.
Exactly.
Yeah. And that's really serious.
Yeah, it is.
Thankfully, I've had the fortitude not to listen to that too much in terms of like turning away from God because of it. But I have definitely felt wounded and have felt frustrated and alone.
Yeah.
Not able to express myself openly because I present as a normal, calm human.
Right.
I don't have any visible disabilities. I don't have any expressive neurodivergent type things going on.
Yeah.
So I just look normal until I open my mouth and I start talking. And I think people confuse the way that I look with what's going on inside as being the same.
Right.
They're not the same. They're different. And if I've moved past my hang up about sharing anything about my trauma history with someone in the church, my hope is that I'll be received. I'm hoping that I'll be received and accepted and cared for, supported, but instead
helped.
Right. Instead, what I get unintentionally is this rejection, harm, shut down, extra shame on top of what I already have.
Yeah.
And the hard part is we know that people aren't trying to do this on purpose.
Yeah. Right. They think they're being helpful and they're really not. How do you tell someone you're not really helping me? You're just making it worse, and it's misguided at best.
Yeah.
And if they're just blatantly telling you it's of the devil, then that's worse.
Right.
And it makes it so much more difficult to get the help you need or want. I mean, I did say this in one of the previous episodes. I think the testimonies one, the guy that told me when I was 18, don't let what people do define God or something like that. Don't let that. And that's what kept me from leaving entirely.
Yeah.
Was God is different from his church. They're people, they're humans, they're imperfect. And I had to hold on to that at times, especially with stuff like this, because I didn't understand why. I constantly felt like I was being, or frequently, I should say constantly, but frequently felt like I was being judged for what I was going through. And I didn't even understand it myself at that point.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think one of the things that is probably going to be the most helpful attitudes that can be, adjusted. I hate to say it that way. I don't know how many people are told in their teens, I'm going to adjust your attitude.
Attitude adjustment.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Is that a Gen X thing?
Gen X.
Yeah, for sure.
I think we just triggered a few Gen Xers.
Oh, sorry.
guys.
Sorry. Anyway, is looking at psychology with the correct lens, a nuance lens.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Taking in what it is and understanding it enough. You don't have to get a bachelor's degree in it.
Yeah.
But understand what's happening within that realm. How people are actually being helped. Because people have tried to talk me out of going to therapy in the church. Presented me with some alternative thing like, we're having the seminar this weekend about trauma. You should come.
Yeah.
Implying that all I need is to show up to this seminar
and you'll be cured.
I'll be cured.
Yeah.
Or at least that it would be, hugely helpful. And it may or may not. It may be helpful, but not a cure.
I mean, the thing is, I don't want to be chasing cures.
Yeah.
For the sake of chasing cures. I want what God wants for me. And so when that person presented this to me, I did pray about it and I did think about it. And I honestly felt in my heart it was not the right path.
Yeah.
For me, that a longer, more intentional time in therapy would be much better for me.
Yeah.
In the long run than some short-handed, quote unquote, miraculous healing thing that was supposed to be happening that weekend.
Yeah, it's almost like there's this idea that if you get enough knowledge or if you get just the right person at the right time, or I've seen this sort of pattern over and over again where you just need to go to this meeting and have this person pray over you, or, instead of the long, slow path, which, we've talked about this a little bit, that, our sanctification journey is lifelong. And there are a lot of dovetails with, as we're healing from trauma, part of that is going to therapy and dealing with things that the Lord wants to bring up in our lives so we can become more like Christ.
Right. Yeah. And there's so much in scripture about persevering and overcoming and walking the difficult path. It lines up with the idea that we're not meant to just be cured.
Right.
We're not meant to just have a sudden miraculous, not to say that God couldn't do that, but I haven't seen it happen frequently. And that's the whole thing. In terms of trauma and complex trauma and, all this, it seems like as we believe that this is our sanctification process or a big part of it, I don't know any other way. I've come to the place of understanding and am at peace with the idea that this is for life.
Right.
This is what God's called me to.
Yeah.
Right.
And I used to be very bitter about that. Now, I think it was about 4 or 5 months ago, I came to a place where I grimly accepted the reality. And it was okay to be grim about it because it is a harsh reality.
Mm-hmm.
But there's also, oh my gosh, there's also,
Oh no, you have tissues nearby.
I've been crying since we started. Yes, I have
Oh,
behind me.
okay.
I'm just feeling like really, this is like hitting some really tender points.
Yeah.
I feel like if this is what God's called me to, it's almost like if someone came to me now and said, if you do this one thing, you'll be cured. I'd be like, how dare you?
Mm,
Would I choose this for myself? Of course not.
right.
But how else would I know him? How else would I understand and learn? I mean, no, it's not ideal. It's
Yeah.
not something anybody would choose, but this is where God put me. This is where I'm at. This is what happened because of the way that my life went. And if someone did come to me now and say, you know, whatever we've heard in the past in any context, I would feel that how dare you? How dare you take this from me and try to make it and cheapen it by what you're saying now?
Mm,
I think before I was so desperate to be free of it that I didn't understand its importance.
right.
And I'm in a place now in my healing where I'm trying to figure out who I am.
Yeah.
Because I don't know who I am. I'm getting some inklings of things.
Mm-hmm.
And I wouldn't trade the times with God in prayer that I've had recently and in listening to him talk to me and tell me things about myself. I wouldn't trade those for any kind of cure-all.
Right. Now, this is kind of a sticky subject because, you know, we obviously want to be happy. We want to be
Right.
free.
Yes.
Sorry, I'm looking for Kleenex. Sorry. They're behind me.
We want, you know, more joy. Like, it's not
Yeah.
bad to want that. It's not bad to want to be rid of suffering.
Right.
Yeah.
The problem
How
is
did my light
that
here?
suffering, this is going to bump up against some people's theology, but I think suffering is good for us in a sense.
Agreed.
I don't
Yeah.
think extended physical suffering when someone's got cancer or some disability, or I'm not talking about that.
Mhm.
Like, I don't think that produces faith necessarily.
Right.
It can, I guess, if they're a Christian and God's working through it. I don't know. I'm just talking about how we feel. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think suffering produces faith because of sanctification. And
Agreed.
if you shortcut that process, what are you? God's going to have to find another way
Yeah.
Yeah.
to
And
reach you.
Yeah. Yeah. I was thinking about that whole idea of wanting to be happy. And, you know, as we're talking about going to therapy, we are going to a professional to get help, but we're also realizing it's the long-term thing. And there will be
Yeah.
good times and there are going to be some hard stuff to have to work
sure.
through. And sometimes we're going to be able, well, let me put it this way. Every once in a while, to try to get some perspective, I'll think, okay, I'm here now and I'm dealing with this.
Mm-hmm.
But then I thought, but how would I have dealt with this a year ago or even 6 months ago? And I think, progress, you know?
Progress.
So
Yeah.
there are little moments where we can kind of celebrate and go, you know, as hard as this is, I'm really glad for where I am because I'm not where I was.
Yes.
Yeah. I want to use, okay. Adjusting. Oh. I want to use an analogy to describe this process because I feel like it's an important one. And people have used this before, so it's not, I'm not the progenitor of this specific analogy, but in your body, when you go to the gym and you do some exercises that are weight bearing, you tear your muscles microscopically. You tear your
Right.
muscles. And then your body comes in to repair the muscles and adds to the muscle fibers.
Mm-hmm.
So they grow,
Mm-hmm.
right? That's how you build muscle.
Right.
Without the tearing and without the rebuilding, without the pain, you're not going to build a muscle. It just doesn't, you don't just go, all right, muscle grow.
Oh, I wish.
Wouldn't that be nice?
Yeah, if that were the thing, everybody would be bodybuilders, I guess.
We'd all be really buff.
We'd all be really super buff and strong. But we have to go and deliberately submit ourselves to the process. We have to
Right.
deliberately submit ourselves to the pain of it.
Yeah.
And we have to allow our bodies to heal and then go back and do it again.
Right.
So I feel like sanctification is a lot like that. It does produce suffering.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're being forced to deal with yourself, your proclivities, your thoughts, your feelings, your tendencies, your idol worship, all of it, your sin. You're forced to deal with it and open yourself up to the process and allow God to come in and pump the iron in your brain, if you will.
Yeah. Because, you know, as hard as it is, and I was thinking about this, I think we all long for Eden. That's the phrase that I keep thinking of, you know, like where is just perfect bliss, perfect joy with, you know, beholding God face to face. But, you know, in this world, we will have trouble. And a lot of that trouble is within ourselves. And if we're not willing to listen to wise counsel, that was another thing I was thinking about today, you know, all the verses like in Proverbs alone about seeking wise counsel. You know, sitting there in a therapist's office, for example, and hearing things about yourself you don't really want to hear and you don't want it to be true. And
that's for sure.
Or maybe it came up with a really good friend who is faithful to point out certain things. And talking about a couple of them right here.
Oh, both of us. Okay.
And, you know, we bring it up in therapy and you kind of like, you don't want it to be true. You almost want to hear her say, oh, no, it's not that bad. And you go, oh, yeah, okay. You know, and it's like, oh, okay, it's real. Now I have to deal with it. But once you face the truth, now you can do something about it. She's just walking around, la, 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 I'm fine. I don't need any of this. I mean, I know in my own life, in my own really close relationships, I was causing all kinds of damage. What if they never said anything? What if I never talked to my therapist about it? And importantly, what if I never did the work?
Right.
You know?
Yeah. People put blinders on to their own behavior and they act like they're totally fine, but there's all this evidence, all this stinky fruit that's going on, things they're doing that clearly shows that their life is not in order. They're not in order.
I was thinking about the scripture that I can't remember where it is exactly. I know it's in 1 Peter. Talks about counting it all joy when you fall into heaviness, temptation, something to that effect. Basically talking about trials.
Yeah,
like James 1.
Okay. There's one of First. Let me look it up. Hold on. Give me a second. There's something. I'm getting my scriptures
You talk,
mixed up.
I'll look it up.
Okay. There's something about, James, and I don't know if this is in the same place, but there's another one, or maybe the same one, where it's talking about purification and the analogy of gold ore being melted down, the gold coming to the surface, or the impurities coming to the surface and being scraped off or pulled off as they purify the gold.
That's definitely not James. What was the other option?
1 Peter, I think it is. I'm not sure which chapter and verse, but
okay, I'll look. You keep
count it all joy when you fall into manifold temptations. That's the King James, I think. But I was thinking about those scriptures and seeing the connection between what we're talking about in terms of sanctification in the context of having trauma and going through this thing that we're all going through in our healing recovery journeys. There is no other way for us. This is just what's happened. And I understand a little bit better now that idea brings honor to us, to God, because it's what's been chosen for us for whatever reason it has, whatever circumstance we ended up in. Counting it all joy, I think, is the point of it. Like, joy is different from happiness. Joy is our strength, which I don't fully grasp yet, but I'm sure that I hope I understand a little better at some point. So, go ahead, Steph.
So it's 1 Peter 1, 6 and 7. Mm-hmm. So in all this you greatly rejoice, though now for a little while you may have had to suffer grief in all kinds of trials. Mm-hmm. These have come so that your proving genuineness of your faith, of greater worth than gold, which perishes even though refined by fire, may result in praise, glory, and honor when Jesus Christ is revealed. Does that sound like the one you were thinking of?
Yes. I was going to say hi sensei. I don't know where that's coming from.
Stephanie is our sensei.
That's the one.
If we slip up, but wow. And that really flies in the face of the idea of not having to suffer or being able to pray it away or just get rid of it quickly, you know.
And it applies to a lot of, not just what we're dealing with, a lot of things that people believe about that. And I feel like there's I had another thought. I can't remember what the heck it was. Even that happens. Oh, quick story. You guys have probably heard this before. There was a short little story written many years ago of a silversmith. Very brief. It's more detailed, but the point of the story was a silversmith polishes silver. He goes through the whole process of, the same thing, scraping the impurities out as they put it in the fire. And then when he's polishing it, he polishes it until he can see his image in it. Mm-hmm. That's when he knows it's done. That's when he knows it's ready.
Well, I think what you're referring to is in the refining process.
Yes.
The smelting process when they're heating up the metal.
Mm-hmm.
And if you've just dug the silver out of the ground, it's going to have impurities in it. It's not going to be like a bar of silver you might buy off the internet somewhere where it's purified already.
Yeah.
If you've dug it out of the ground, mined it somehow, it's going to have other things in it, debris, dirt, other metals, whatever. So you have to put it through this process of heating it up to liquid, cooling it. I've seen some videos of alchemy, actual gold and silver refining. Mm-hmm. I said alchemy.
You did? I thought you were right. I was like, yeah, sure, okay.
I was like, okay, I guess that's what it's called. We're just smiling and nodding, girl.
I don't know.
Smiling and nodding.
Anyway, so it goes through this process, and it has to be heated up to a certain degree. Okay. Mm-hmm. You do have to scrape out, there's all kinds of things. So when it's reached the final stage of purification, when it's still liquid, that you've gotten there because you can see your face in it. That's the analogy you're talking about.
Gotcha. Yep.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily polishing it, although that does happen.
Right.
If you're making things with it.
Excuse me. Yes. Yeah, I mean, it's so, my point is it's so evident in scripture there's so much evidence about trial and about being purified and about going through the process. And if it just so happens that your path is because of trauma, that's just what it is. I mean, I think acceptance of that is really important. And I don't know that a lot of people can do that. They can accept that someone has complex trauma. They've been abused. It's a big, if you're not in the middle of it, it's a big thing to try to understand.
Yeah. Right.
But I think saying that's okay, even if you don't totally get it, at least not being judgmental and not trying to put something upon the person that isn't going to help them. To me, that's more important than anything else.
So I thought it might be useful for the next 20 or so minutes to talk about our specific therapy experiences as Christian people. Because I think we have a variety of things. Richelle's with a Christian therapist. I've had a variety of experiences with a variety of people.
I have too.
I don't know if my therapist is a Christian or not. I can't tell by
Yeah.
what we talk about. It doesn't matter if he is to me or not. But I've had a variety of experiences. I don't know how much Evelyn's experienced in terms of different kinds of therapists.
I've had a few.
Yeah. But it might be useful to talk just for a few minutes about, your experiences with it, because I did have at least one bad experience with a therapist.
Mm-hmm.
The rest of it's been fine. I think I was with some Christian therapists early on, and then secular therapists, and then Christian therapists again, and then more secular therapists, blah, blah.
Back and forth.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. So who wants to go first? I could do it if you don't want to, but
I guess I can.
okay.
My very first experience with a therapist, she was not a Christian, but she was very, like, how do I put this? Enthusiastic's not the right word, but that's the word that comes to mind. She was very, like, proactive. I met her straight out of the hospital the second time I went in for depression, severe depression. They recommended her to me. She specialized with people who were severely depressed, and the other word I won't say, the S word. And I was, 28 years old, didn't know anything. And I went to see her at her house. She had her office at her house by design. And we sat down, we talked for 20 or so minutes. She got my history and things. Didn't have a whole lot to say because I didn't really understand myself at that point very well. Just knew that I had been abused. At that point, I understood that much. And I had some mental health issues because of that. And she had me do physical exercises, as well as talk therapy to symbolize certain things. I don't remember, I can't remember the details of them, but she was the one that I told the story before. We were in a talk session, and I was coming to a point where I was starting to understand that I had trauma. And she got on her knees in front of me and put her hands on my face. Makes me cry every time I think about it. And said, she pulled me in. She said, "Sweetheart, you're traumatized, severely traumatized. And I want you to say that."
Yeah.
It took me 10 more minutes to be able to say it out loud.
Yeah.
That was one of those turning points. Unfortunately, I couldn't continue on with her because I was having trouble with my insurance, and it was a weird situation. I was really heartbroken. I couldn't move on with her or keep going with her. She was really foundational in helping me believe and understand what that meant.
Yeah.
What is it like in general? What do you experience when you go to therapy?
Well, back then was different than it is now. It's a lot different back then.
Yeah, I mean, you can talk about back then, you can talk about now, but let's talk about what it's actually like. What happens when you go?
Nowadays, when I go, I usually have a plan that never happens. 9 times out of 10, I don't talk about the thing I think I'm going to talk about. Something completely different, but probably needed to come out. I trust God that whatever needs to come out will come out, even if I do have some idea in my head. I try to keep it, loose. I'm not strict about what I talk about. My therapist listens. She gives advice about things. She helps me to not, if I get too intense, we'll take a break, calm down, do some grounding. But she just lets me talk a lot. She just lets me say things I need to say out loud. And we'll go through exercises of things she'll say, "Well, what about this?" I'll say something that our mother did, for instance, when I was a kid, and she'll say, "What happened then?" And then I'll tell her, and we'll kind of come to a point of a little bit of a breakthrough about something. Or sometimes it's just talking things out that I need to work out in my mind that have been on my mind for a while. When I was younger, it was different in the sense that I was not even sure what had happened to me. So I was spending my time trying to figure that out and putting the pieces together with the help of therapists to understand it. And most of them were not Christians. And I think that was important for me at that time because I needed to understand what actually happened to me as a kid.
Right.
Nowadays, I do appreciate the spiritual side because it helps me to connect my healing journey with God to my therapy.
Right.
Not that it's necessary for me, but it's important, I think, at this point. And that may not always be true.
Right.
And she's very encouraging. The questions she asks help me to think things through. I get in my head really quickly a lot of the time.
Yeah.
And get really emotional. Shocker right now.
What? Yeah.
What? Richelle's crying on camera and she's emotional? What?
I know, right?
That's
so unusual. I know.
Oh.
But yeah, she just helps me to like stay on track and calm down and try to work through things. So it's really good. I enjoy having conversations with her. I really appreciate her encouragement. And I like the fact that I can talk to her about pretty much anything. That hasn't always been true of every therapist I've ever had. Some of them were more structured and like wanted to stick with one subject for a while, which was totally fine. But I do like the freedom of being able to go in and not know what I'm going to talk about that day. And it's like a pressure release valve. It's like something that's come up or maybe just something that's in my mind and it just comes out and I feel better after. So
Yeah.
that's about it at this point, at least.
Okay. Evelyn, do you want to share?
Yeah. As I was thinking back, over the years, I've had a variety of experiences. I know my first therapist that I had was after I had my oldest daughter. I met with, she was, I don't know that you would call her a therapist exactly. She was a Christian counselor.
Okay.
And what she helped me do was to get grounded in reality. Because I was really struggling with postpartum depression, and I was so afraid that there was something wrong with my daughter, and just I had all these ideas, and my family couldn't seem to help me. They didn't know what to do with me, And the people at church, I wasn't sharing a whole lot there, but in the therapy, this was the first time I'd ever had therapy. So I was 29. I sat down with her and she started to ask me questions. And I was like, oh, it's okay to say this stuff. Like I can go ahead and she was helpful. And I met with her for a few months and I felt better and, on with my life. So it was definitely positive. She really helped me. And she was a voice outside of my own head who could challenge me and encourage me to get out of my own hamster wheel, which I think generally speaking is what I've found helpful in my therapy period. I think there was only one therapist where it was a little weird. I went through postpartum psychosis. That was really bad. I was in an intervention center for a while, and then I met with a psychiatrist. And it was a little weird with her because it was like she was studying me. Like, well, what about this? And she would go, oh, it's sort of like almost like the ones you see like in the on the TV shows or whatever. Oh, your mother said what? When you were 5. And then she brought in a colleague. Is it okay if this colleague, and they were just like studying me. And they tried a variety of medication to help me with my severe depression. And I was diagnosed with bipolar with them. So then there's all this bipolar medication that I had all kinds of reactions to. I kind of felt like I was a little bit of like a test subject. So I started feeling better and I stopped going to her. And then many years later, so let me just say that I thought, okay, I don't really want to be in somebody's petri dish,
Understandable.
So then I had a little bit of an attitude about, oh, this is what a psychiatrist is like, But then about 10 years ago now, maybe not that long. Anyway, a number of years ago, so there's this huge chunk of time, I started going to one she was so helpful. And sort of like Richelle said, I thought I was going to be talking about one thing because I had recently gone through something very traumatic. And we ended up talking about stuff that happened when I was little that was foundational And we worked through something, and she helped me like no one else did. And just a few months with this one issue that broke something loose inside of me.
Yeah.
And I don't think that I ever would have, I mean, God knows, you know, if I ever would have addressed that if it weren't for her and that time and that space she gave me, the question she asked me, you know, and where I was able to go with that. And, you know, that I'm trying to think of what she was considered. She's a psychiatrist, psychologist. I don't even know. That lovely lady who helped me. She unfortunately passed away. And then I kind of went through this period of, oh no, you know, now I have to find another one. And I was just afraid, you know, because she was a really good fit. And I was afraid that I get one that wasn't, you know.
Yeah.
But I'm really grateful for the one I have now. And really, it's sort of varied, you know, how things go depending on what's come up. So, you know, usually I'll jot down some things I want to talk about, and then she'll give me some help. And this is my kind of messy notebook that I use for that. And usually there's something, like she'll say something that'll click. And it happens almost in every session. And I'm like, oh. And she's gotten used to me going, you know, well, write that down, you know.
She's writing.
And I can't imagine not having somebody in this journey with me.
Yeah.
You know, a professional, a kind, supportive, and helpful professional to guide me.
Right.
So I'm grateful for that.
Yeah. So here's what I know about the field of counseling, therapy, psychiatry, psychology. People who want to be licensed therapists have to go through some pretty rigorous master level work at a university. They have to do, depending on the state, a lot of practicum with supervision.
That's true.
And often they have to pay the person that that's supervising them to supervise them. And it's a lot of work. Like, it takes a long time to finally get your, and then I think you might have to take a test. I'm not sure to finally get the license. But it's not like somebody just shows up one day and they're like, oh, well, I want to be a therapist.
Right.
And they put a little sign out and suddenly people are flocking to them. They have to be licensed. And people come from all different kinds of backgrounds. So there's masters of social work, clinical, you know, therapists. There might be some nurse practitioners that are therapists. I'm not sure about that one. There's doctors of psychology. They're not medical doctors, but they did earn a doctorate degree. Right. Psychiatrists are actually medical doctors.
Yeah.
So they go to medical school, but their specialty is psychiatry.
Yeah.
So they are the ones who could prescribe medications and other things like that. I know there's a variety of people and approaches to the therapeutic model in terms of how you can get there.
Yeah.
I have had a variety of help from different kinds of people with different kinds of backgrounds, with different kinds of approaches over the last 35 years. So I started when I was 20. I'm still in therapy.
Right.
It's not been continuous from that time to now, but it's definitely been more often than not.
Right.
I believe my current therapist is a doctor of psychology. A little unclear about that, but it doesn't matter. He's licensed. That's what matters.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so his favorite approach, he's not actually a trauma-informed therapist, because there are people who are like that, who specialize in trauma recovery. He's not exactly a trauma-informed therapist. he's a dialectical behavioral uh, therapy focused therapist.
Gotcha.
So there's a model for that he follows. Now, he tried early on to get me to do the acronyms and do the little programs of DBT, and I was like, hey, you know, I'm very much in charge of my therapy sessions. I just have to say that, but that's sort of my nature, just to be in charge. So, you know, like I said, I've had good therapists. I've had at least one bad therapist who ended up harming me more than not. I've been through cognitive behavioral therapy. I've been through internal family systems therapy. I've been through EMDR. I've done talk therapy for most of my time. I've been on medications. I've been off medications. I was in the same place Evelyn was for 5 days. You know, I've done everything. I've never been hospitalized, though. That never happened to me. So the way that things tend to go now, my feeling is that a therapist kind of acts like a mirror. They create a safe space for you to just be open. Just say what's true, because what's really hard for people like us is saying what we think and how we feel for fear of judgment or more shaming. And if you have someone who's going to listen to you, now granted, we're paying them,
right?
Maybe not directly, but whatever.
Insurance, whatever.
So they're there to listen to you. They're there to hear what you're thinking, right? And hear how you're feeling. So they act like a mirror. They reflect back what you're saying, but then they also, and you guys kind of mentioned this, punctuate their reflection with feedback. Perspective. Have you ever thought about this? Have you ever noticed that? How do you feel about that? You know, get you talking in a certain direction. It is a model to do that. It's a technique. They have techniques. You know, and they're using it for your betterment. Right? And now I'm not saying that there was never any evil people trying to create things like the whole, you know, satanic cult scare in the 80s and 90s and implanting fake memories of abuse or whatever. I'm not saying that never happened. But by and large, people don't get into therapy to manipulate people. They genuinely want to help. A lot of them are survivors of something themselves.
And they want to reach out and help someone because they've been hurt.
Now, this specific therapist for me has been very helpful because he mentioned he came from a background of dealing with addictions. And my focus right now is dealing with my food addiction. So he's been extremely helpful with thinking about things differently, insights to things I hadn't thought about. I always have an agenda. We go through a little ritual. He'll ask me how the last 2 weeks have been, and I'll laugh because what a silly question that is. And then I'll catch him up on what everybody's doing in the family. He always likes to hear about everybody's life, I guess. We sometimes spent time talking about individual people that I am involved with. But for the most part, what I like to do is something I've been thinking about or praying about, or something that's come up, I like to focus on it and I'll bring it up. So after about 10 or 15 minutes, I'll say, okay, so what I wanted to talk about today was this. Now, granted, I do start out wanting to talk about this, but it kind of goes, you know, because the discovery of the connection to something that happened to you in the past pops up in the middle of all that. And now you got to talk about that. So, you know, but it is all connected. You know, there is no leaving the past in the past. It's present. in my life.
Yeah, for sure.
And I'm trying to deal with the past as present in my life because it stops me, it trips me up, it makes things difficult.
Mm-hmm.
And also trying not to be an addict, try not to make people around me miserable, try not to make myself miserable.
Yeah.
So it helps to have someone I can trust, that I feel secure with, that can give me feedback that's, got insight I never thought of, to help me process what I'm experiencing.
Right. That makes sense.
And to start shifting things in a different direction. Like last week was my last session, and we were talking about how I have this tendency to do all these things, like run a dojo, run a podcast, do things with the Mamaru, do things with my students.
Yeah.
All these things that put me out in public, right? But I'm also trying to hide from some aspect of myself. Okay. Yeah. Because I dissociate from between the moments where I'm doing things that are authentic and real, and I'm doing them authentically and with reality. But then later I disconnect from it. I go back to being the perfect daughter in my own mind, whatever that was. So I'm hiding, and he pointed out, so it's like you're hiding from yourself.
Yeah.
Now I was kind of rambling around on this topic and just sort of like talking about satellite feelings that are related to it, but just wasn't pulling the strings together very well. So when he said that, it went,
oh yeah,
yes,
that's it.
And I laughed because it sounded absurd, but I was like, you're right. And that is why I go to therapy.
Yeah.
Those kinds of moments where suddenly I'm enlightened about something I've been struggling with for all of my life. And now, because of that, I can make a shift. I can make a change. I can start heading in a different direction altogether. And start living my life less bound up.
Yeah. That's true. I've told this story a couple times on the podcast, but I want to tell it again because it feels important here. I had congestive heart failure when I was 46 or 47, and they were trying to figure out, I mean, I have high blood pressure. That was definitely part of it. But they were trying to figure out why at my age I had it. And I had a visit from a psychiatric nurse. I think she was a nurse practitioner, if I remember correctly, because she came in and she said something about panic attacks. And I was not aware at that point that I was pretty much having panic attacks all the time.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
And she said, because they did some tests that detected that, and she said, I mean, I've been to this hospital before, so they know I have a history of trauma.
Yeah.
She said, you have a history of trauma, right? And I said, yeah. She said, I think your congestive heart failure is at least partially caused by you having constant panic attacks.
Right.
Which changed the entire course of how I got treated, because I didn't have any heart disease and they didn't have to put stents in when they did the heart catheterization into my heart, which was a miracle.
Yeah.
But I was in the early stages of it at that time, and her idea, even though it was technically a diagnosis, helped to understand. I believed her. Something about what she said made sense to me, given my history and given that I had.
And you weren't in therapy then.
I was not at that point. It made total sense to me that this was because of my trauma.
Right.
And I was so thankful for her. And again, psychology, she's a psychiatric nurse, I believe nurse practitioner. I'm not 100% sure about
she
that.
She probably was.
But the way she was talking to me, like she was really, like knew her stuff. I was so thankful. And she visited me one more time. I think the day before I left, she came in and asked me how I was doing, recommended therapy like my big sister does.
or did.
Yeah. I do it now. And I was so thankful for that, because without her, I would never have known that. I would never even thought of that in a million years.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's just one more example of what we're talking about, how important this is.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, we are well past the hour.
Yes, we are.
So I think it's probably time for a summation
Summation.
alert.
Summation alert.
Time to do the summation of what we've been talking about.
Yeah.
It's been a pretty intense hour, I have to
It
say.
has.
Yeah.
So we're talking about the attitudes in the church about psychology, psychiatry, etc., which is all over the map. There's no
Pretty
one
much.
consensus about what it is or whether or not Christians should use psychology, therapy, whatever.
Right.
It's all the way from it's fine to it's demonic.
Yep.
Just everywhere. We tend towards the view, of course, that's not demonic.
Right.
It's not to say that demons can't be involved in some aspect of it or whatever. I'm not saying that. But for all intents and purposes, the whole realm of psychology is more nuanced than people get a credit for.
Mm.
And there are actual benefits for people like us or
Right.
people with other kinds of mental health issues. There's a lot of good in it, even if there was some bad at some point.
Mhm.
Or there might still be some bad. I don't really know. I don't pay attention to that.
Right.
I'm not interested. I don't care.
Right.
I don't really care about what I'm getting out of it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And because we all believe in the therapeutic model of therapy
Mhm.
that helps us process our trauma because we cannot escape the past.
Right.
No matter what we do, no matter how hard we try, it will not go away
So true.
Mhm.
unless we process it properly,
Yes.
which means we need professional help. We need
Yep.
people who know what they're talking about, who are willing to help us feel safe, who are willing to let us say whatever's on our minds,
Mhm.
who will reflect back and will point things out and give feedback or directions or advice or insight, perspective, whatever it is we need to help us to see our lives differently, to help us process things in a way that actually releases it, that actually heals. Because the
Right.
therapy does heal.
Yes.
It's not endlessly talk. It's not like What About Bob?
I love that movie, by the way.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh,
Not like that.
no,
Where you're
not
just
at all.
endlessly cycling on the same issues over and over again and never getting anywhere. It's not
Right.
like that. We go, we talk, we share, we reflect, we
Mhm.
discover, and we get the help we need. And then we get healing.
Yes.
And, maybe every once in a while, God will give me some kind of miraculous healing on some topic or another. But for the most part, this is part of my sanctification. And it
Mhm.
sounds like it's part of your guys' sanctification too.
Oh,
Definitely.
yes.
This is how we meet God. We
Mhm.
obey, we go to therapy, we process our grief, our pain, our suffering, our emotions, our feelings, and we allow God into the space. We allow Him to show us things. We recover, we change our patterns so we're not sinning anymore.
Mhm.
I'm not saying ever again, I'm just saying on that particular thing.
Right.
Right. Right.
Like I have a food addiction, so overeating is a sin. I'd like to stop that.
Mhm.
It's not so easy to do.
Right.
It's taking a lot of effort on my part, a lot of therapy, a lot of talking about it, a lot of
Mhm.
therapeutic models for me to follow and techniques to try, and
Right.
it's taking a lot of time. But eventually I'll get there. I believe in that.
Mhm.
Right.
So, we always encourage people to consider therapy if they know you have a trauma history of some kind or another,
Yes.
whether it's a one-time event, a series of events, a childhood of events, whatever it is. If you find yourself struggling to have a good, calm, decent life, perhaps you should consider reaching out to a therapist. And there's Christians out there. There's some
Yeah.
therapists.
Yep.
They're out there if that's what you want.
Yeah.
There you can find them. with the advent of online counseling, they're out there.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Not every therapist is going to be a good fit for you. You have to kind of meet with them, talk to them, and feel it out.
Yep.
And if it's not good, move on. Find somebody else. And in a space of a year, I had 3 different people I met with, and
I remember that.
I only ended up with the guy that I am with now because I talked to a supervisor at the company that my therapist works for. Was like, let me find you somebody, because I had said, you know what, I'm done with this. And she's like, don't give up. Let's try and find you somebody and see if this works out for you.
Yeah.
So I listened to her. I gave her a chance, and I ended up with the guy I'm with. It's been 5 years or so now. And it definitely was a good move. Definitely has helped me navigate so much of some really awful things.
Yeah.
So we encourage people, get some help. Stop it. Get some help. Sorry, I had to throw that in there.
If you know, you know.
You know. So I think that's pretty much all I have for the summations. I did a good job.
Great job.
You summed it
Excellent
up well.
summation.
All right.
2 enthusiastic thumbs up.
Woo! All right. Well, I think it's dance time then.
Are the cats going to be in the house?
We can definitely put the cats on the screen. Disco ball, lights, action.
Like,
share,
subscribe, follow, share, push all the buttons, do all the things. You know
what to do.
Now do it.
Do it. Yep. We appreciate you guys listening to us ramble on in our non-professional way. With all their bumps and bruises and occasional directions for me to stop it.
Get some help.
And get some help.
Yeah, I mean, maybe someday when we're rich and famous, we'll have a studio. But right now, we're just sitting in our houses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
pretty much.
Richelle and Evelyn have the luxury of being in their bedrooms, but I can't currently. I'm in my kitchen. As you can see.
Clearly see.
There's my
fridge behind her.
My back door.
Fridge, back door, cabinet over here.
We hope the content is worth putting up with the distractions.
Yeah.
Anyway, but we appreciate you listening. Yes. If you think this will help someone, please share it.
Yes.
With them. Send them this link to this particular episode or to our YouTube channel and let them know, hey, this really helped me. I think you should listen to it.
Yeah.
Sharing is caring.
Yes.
Yeah. So, as I mentioned in the last episode, we are working on some projects.
Yep.
We're creating devotionals for people with trauma to navigate being in the church.
Yes.
Yeah.
I just started a second one today. It's very exciting. And of course, Richelle and Evelyn will be involved in the whole thing.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I'm also redoing the website. That's currently down, so you can't go visit it. But hopefully it'll be up soon. There's still a lot of work to do.
Yeah.
I'm working on it as I can because of life, But the devotionals will be available to purchase. And we hope that you will purchase one or more and that you will share the link with people, not share the PDFs, but share the links with people.
Yeah.
We want people to buy
it. Please.
Yeah. So anyway, I think that's all for today. So thank you for joining us on the Trauma Recovery Out Loud podcast. I'm Stephanie Dunham.
I'm Evelyn Mason.
I'm Richelle Knapp.
Bye.
Bye. See ya. Thank you for joining us today. We hope you got some food for thought and encouragement to keep going and keep growing. See you next time. For more episodes, you can find us on Spotify and YouTube. Comment, like, and subscribe to spread the word and help the channel grow.